MasonWinfield again, in the depths of the Western New York winter, January 23rd, 2026, with an installment today we're going to call Tam Shanter. You know, a couple days from now, January 25th, is the birthday of the celebrated Scottish poet, Robert Burns. And I think the reason I'm feeling Robert Burns so strongly, not because he's one of my favorite poets, but because he's the subject of one of my favorite customs, a Robert Burns dinner. I've got some Scottish in me, some Irish, a little bit of, Celtic ancestry, but all over the world on January 25th, people have a celebratory dinner with Scottish food, Scottish poetry, Scottish jokes, Scottish whiskey. It's a delightful evening, and I usually host a Bobby Burns party, and I'm not doing it this year. But at any rate, it reminds me that Robert Burns was the author of a poem called Tam Shanter. It means Tom of the village, Shanter. But it's an update, an upgraded version of a medieval ballad that was highly supernatural. And the medieval ballad from which Robert Burns' poem Tam Shanter is based is generally called Tam Lin. Now, Tam Lin, the Scots very often put an A in place of the O in an English word. If you ever see a Scottish word you don't understand that's got an A in it, try putting an O in and see whether it becomes clearer. It very often will. But Tam Lin, it means Tom of the village or the place, Lin. And it's basically a ballad about a knight who is taken prisoner, more or less, by the fairies. And the way Celtic customs about fairy captivity work, the fairies can have you. They can just, it's like you're on a yo-yo, but yet you're wandering around the world and go anywhere you want, but you look a little queer, and when the fairies want you, back you go. And Tam Lin, it's a fairly long ballad. It's beautiful. I mean, most of the British and Scottish ballads are not complex literature. They are the literature of the people of the countryside. They are the literature of people who haven't had education. They are the literature of people who didn't go to college. They didn't study literature. It's just something they sing to each other. And so Tam Lin comes along in the Middle Ages, and it's really intricate and complex. It features imagery, characterization, because there's a woman character in it, young Janet, the king's daughter, who is the toughest woman in the ballads. So I think at this time of year, maybe someday, maybe on a Halloween, I'll tell you a bit about the Ballad of Tam Lin. It is a really interesting ballad. To retell it as a story is fascinating. But for now, thanks for joining us again on another episode of Psi Friday with Mason. And I want to end this episode with a very solemn good night to a dear friend of mine, a folklorist, a college professor, an author. Her name is Lydia Fish, and she was the longtime folklore professor at SUNY Buffalo, Buffalo State College. And she and I were old friends, used to go out to dinner with multiple people once a month or so. It was absolutely delightful. And this is a toast to Professor Lydia. Sister, never forget you.